They tried to hide the truth about this baby. But God said, "No more secrets. My beloved child, the moment you opened this message, a hidden door in the spiritual realm swung wide open. And whether you realize it or not, you have just stepped into a story that was designed to reach you today, not yesterday, not tomorrow. A truth that was buried, a truth that powerful hands tried to lock away, a truth connected to a baby whose destiny is intertwined with yours in a way that will make your heart shake. Listen carefully, because every second from now is carrying divine precision. Something huge is waiting for you." They thought they could disguise this truth forever, but heaven whispered, "No more secrets." And now, that whisper has reached your name. Amen. Blessing 111. Beyond the surface of your daily life, while you were living unaware, someone has been trembling, because the truth they hid is rising like a storm they can no longer control. This isn't just a coincidence, this is a divine appointment. The baby they tried to keep away from your awareness, the child whose existence they tried to erase from your destiny, holds a connection so powerful that even the angels paused. Someone around you knew the truth long before today, and instead of revealing it, they chose silence. But silence has an expiration date when God steps in. The spiritual realm is shaking right now because that expiration date is now. Something huge is waiting for you. Amen. Blessing 222. A revelation is forming like thunder over your life, and the energy around you is shifting with speed. God has watched every hidden conversation, every message deleted, every whisper exchanged behind your back, every moment someone said, "Don't tell them yet." But divine timing has arrived like a sword, cutting through every lie. This baby, this small, fragile life, carries a destiny that directly touches yours. You may not feel it yet, but your spirit already recognizes the truth rising. God is saying, "You will not be kept in the dark anymore." Someone tried to rewrite fate, but heaven is restoring the original script right now. Something huge is waiting for you. Amen. Blessing 333. In this very moment, a silent war is happening in the unseen, because the truth they buried is forcing its way to the surface, and the people who hid it are panicking. They never expected heaven to intervene. They never expected divine exposure to come this fast. But God has declared, "No more secrets," and when God speaks, nothing can stay hidden. The baby they tried to keep away from your awareness, the life they tried to distance from your destiny, is carrying a purpose that is connected to you in ways they never wanted you to understand. Something huge is waiting for you. Amen. Blessing 444. As the veil lifts, you must understand one thing clearly: this truth was not meant to break you, it was meant to strengthen you. Someone feared your reaction, your power, your ability to rise once you knew the whole story. They feared the bond that could form, the healing that could happen, the future that could unfold. So they built walls of silence. They created distance. They spoke half-truths. They tried to shape your perspective. But heaven has shattered every barrier. The spiritual realm is rearranging everything around you so you finally see what was always meant to be seen. Something huge is waiting for you. Amen. Blessing 555. Before this part ends, pause for a moment and feel what your spirit is experiencing right now. The pull, the pressure, the intensity, that is not random. That is alignment. That is destiny knocking. God is guiding you toward clarity, toward courage, toward revelation. And as this truth rises, nothing and no one will be able to stop what is unfolding. This message was sent to you for a reason, at this exact hour. And before we continue deeper into the story, make sure you anchor yourself to this journey, because what comes next is even more explosive, and you cannot afford to miss it. Something huge is waiting for you. Amen. Blessing 666. Listen closely now, because this is the moment where the story turns, where the truth stops knocking and begins breaking down the door. The people who hid this secret believed time was on their side. They thought the longer they delayed, the safer they were. But destiny doesn't delay, it gathers strength. And this baby, this innocent life wrapped in divine purpose, has become the very key that unlocks what they never wanted you to know. You weren't supposed to find out like this. You weren't supposed to feel this spiritual pull. Yet here you are, standing at the edge of a revelation written long before you were born. Something huge is waiting for you. Amen. Blessing 777. What you feel right now isn't confusion, it's confirmation. Your spirit has sensed for months, maybe even years, that something was off, something was incomplete, something wasn't adding up. You felt the shift. You noticed the strange behaviors. You caught the half-finished sentences, the uncomfortable pauses, the sudden change of subject whenever certain topics came close. Those moments weren't coincidences, those were cracks in the wall of secrecy. And now the wall is collapsing. The truth linked to this child carries emotional weight, spiritual weight, generational weight. And God is saying, you were meant to know. You were chosen to know. Something huge is waiting for you. Amen. Blessing 888. And here is the part that shakes everything. The reason they hid the truth is because they knew that once you learned it, everything would shift in your favor. Your position would change. Your power would increase. Your place in the story would transform. This baby is not just a secret, they are a divine turning point. A destiny marker. A blessing wrapped in innocence. Someone tried to hide the truth to keep you small, unsure, dependent, confused. But God has stepped into the room saying, not anymore. What they hid is rising. What they covered is unfolding. And the next part will reveal an even deeper layer that they never wanted you to discover. Something huge is waiting for you. Amen. Blessing 999. A new wave of truth is rising, and the closer it comes, the more unsettled certain people around you have become. They can feel it. They can sense that the secret they buried is slipping through their fingers. And this time, nothing, no lie, no distraction, no manipulation, can stop what heaven has already released. God has declared, no more secrets, and when that decree falls, every hidden thing begins to shake. What they covered for so long is now pulsing in the atmosphere, pushing toward you with unstoppable force. Something huge is waiting for you. Amen. Blessing 1111. The connection between you and this baby runs deeper than anyone ever explained. This isn't just a biological link or a family twist, this is destiny alignment. This child carries a spiritual role in your life that was chosen long before human hands interfered. Someone feared that if you discovered the truth, your heart would awaken, your purpose would rise, and your strength would return. They feared you would take your rightful place. So they hid what was yours to know. But heaven has interrupted their plans. God has stepped between you and every lie, clearing a path for complete revelation. Something huge is waiting for you. Amen. Blessing 12:12. And now destiny is accelerating. Every moment from here forward is unfolding with divine timing. You may not yet know the full truth, but your spirit already recognizes its weight, because this revelation will not only expose what was hidden, it will also restore what you lost, lift what was broken, and realign what was diverted. God is not revealing this child to bring chaos, He is revealing this child to bring completion. You are stepping into the part of your life story they never wanted you to read. And in the next chapter, the most shocking layer of the truth will rise with clarity you cannot ignore. Something huge is waiting for you. Amen. Blessing 13:13. The atmosphere around your life is trembling now, because the truth they tried to bury is no longer staying underground. It is rising, forcing its way through every lie, every cover-up, every whispered conversation that was meant to erase your right to know. Heaven is pushing this revelation toward you with a force that no human hand can block. And the people involved? They're anxious, because they can feel the collapse of the secret they built. The baby they hid, the connection they denied, the truth they swore would never come out, God has shattered that illusion. Something huge is waiting for you. Amen. Blessing 14:14. This child's existence carries a divine assignment, one that was spiritually tied to your name before anyone tried to interfere. You weren't supposed to forget this child. You weren't supposed to live unaware. Someone deliberately tried to cut the thread between you and this destiny. They were afraid of the bond, afraid of the healing, afraid of the power you would gain once you knew everything. They feared what your heart would awaken to. They feared what doors would open for you. So they chose secrecy over truth. But God chose revelation over silence. And heaven's decision is final. Something huge is waiting for you. Amen. Blessing 15:15. And now, prepare yourself, because the next shift will not be subtle, it will be undeniable. Spiritual light is exposing every hidden detail, every forgotten clue, every reason behind their silence. The truth is assembling itself piece by piece, aligning perfectly so you cannot miss it. This baby isn't just part of someone's past, they are part of your future. This revelation marks the turning point in your destiny, the moment everything begins to rearrange in your favor. The next part will reveal the layer they fought hardest to keep away from you. Something huge is waiting for you. Amen. Blessing 16:16. The revelation is now standing at your doorway, and whether you are ready or not, it is unfolding with divine speed. The truth they hid for so long is no longer whispering, it is roaring. Heaven has pulled the curtain back, and the light is exposing everything that was kept in the shadows. Someone thought they could control the story, but the story was never theirs to control. This baby, this innocent life woven into your destiny, is stepping back into the timeline they tried to erase. Every lie they told is trembling. Every secret they held is cracking. Something huge is waiting for you. Amen. Blessing 17:17. The most heart-shaking part is this: the baby they hid carries a divine signature connected to your purpose. You were meant to guide, protect, uplift, or be connected to this child in a way that shifts destinies. Someone knew that once you discovered the truth, your strength would return, your intuition would sharpen, and your place in the spiritual order would change. They feared your rise. They feared your clarity. They feared the divine bond this child would activate in you. But fear cannot fight heaven. And now, the truth is racing toward you like a prophecy fulfilling itself. Something huge is waiting for you. Amen. Blessing 18:18. And now the layer they feared the most is beginning to surface. This truth does not just reveal a baby, this truth reveals someone's guilt, someone's hidden intention, someone's fear of your power. A decision made in secrecy is being reversed in divine timing. A door they tried to close forever is unlocking itself. You were never meant to walk blind. You were never meant to be excluded from this chapter. And the next part will bring you face to face with the emotional core of the story, the part that will shake you, heal you, and awaken you all at once. Something huge is waiting for you. Amen. Blessing 19:19. The emotional storm they tried to shield you from is finally breaking open, and every hidden intention behind their silence is now floating to the surface. The truth about this baby was never small. It was never accidental. It was never something that could be erased with time. This child holds a divine thread that ties directly into your destiny, your healing, your growth, and your spiritual authority. And that is exactly why they worked so hard to keep it buried. They feared what you would become once this truth touched your heart. But heaven has decided, your awakening can no longer be delayed. Something huge is waiting for you. Amen. Blessing 2020. This next revelation may hit deeper than you expect, because it exposes the emotional reason behind their secrecy. Someone close to you made a decision rooted in fear, fear of losing control, fear of losing influence, fear of losing their place in your life. They believed that if this baby was revealed, your loyalty would shift, your heart would evolve, and your strength would return. They knew this truth would unlock a version of you that cannot be manipulated or silenced. So they hid the connection, hoping you would never discover what heaven always intended you to know. But destiny does not obey human fear. Something huge is waiting for you. Amen. Blessing 21:21. And now the spiritual realm is echoing the final warning: the truth is not coming, it is already here. You may feel it rising inside you, that strange pressure in your chest, that sudden clarity, that emotional pull you cannot explain. That is your spirit recognizing divine revelation. The bond between you and this baby is not random, it is purposeful, powerful, and protected by heaven itself. And in the next part, the deepest layer of this secret will unfold, the very reason God stepped in and said, "No more hiding." Prepare your heart, because the next chapter changes everything. Something huge is waiting for you. Amen. Blessing 22:22. The truth is no longer whispering, it is standing in front of you with undeniable clarity, and the emotional weight of it is something heaven has been preparing you for. This is the moment where destiny stops circling your life and finally steps directly into your path. The baby they hid, the child whose existence was wrapped in silence, is carrying a truth so powerful that it is capable of rewriting what you believed about your past, your relationships, and your purpose. Someone thought this secret would protect them, but all it did was delay the rise of your spiritual identity. God has declared, this ends now. Something huge is waiting for you. Amen. Blessing 23:23. And now the deepest emotional layer begins to open, because the reason behind their hiding wasn't just fear, it was attachment. Someone couldn't bear the thought of losing their influence over you. They sensed that if this revelation reached you, your loyalty, your attention, your trust, your focus would shift toward the baby whose destiny is tied to yours. They knew this truth would restore the parts of you they tried to dim. This child carries a healing energy you were always meant to experience. Their presence in your life would have changed everything. That is why the silence was built so carefully. But heaven has crushed that silence with one command. Something huge is waiting for you. Amen. Blessing 24:24. And now destiny is stepping closer, because your name has been written beside this revelation from the beginning. You weren't meant to remain unaware. You weren't meant to walk in confusion. This was supposed to reach you in divine timing, and that timing is right now. The truth tied to this baby is about to open doors you didn't even know existed. It will clarify your path, expose hidden intentions, and awaken a strength inside you that has been sleeping for too long. Prepare yourself, because the next part carries the most intense turning point yet, the moment where God reveals why this truth could no longer remain hidden. Something huge is waiting for you. Amen. Blessing 25:25. The spiritual tension around this truth is reaching its breaking point now, and the closer you move toward the revelation, the more the people involved begin to fear exposure. They can sense that the secret they protected for so long is slipping out of their control. What they once hid with confidence is now trembling under heaven's light. The baby at the center of this story, this innocent life, was never meant to be a secret. Their presence carries a divine frequency that was destined to align with your path. And God has stepped forward, saying, what I joined spiritually can no longer be separated by human fear. Something huge is waiting for you. Amen. Blessing 26:26. Here is where the truth sharpens. The silence wasn't just about the child. It was about what this child represents for you. This baby carries a breakthrough that heaven intended to deliver into your life. A restoration. A new chapter. A healing that would shift your entire emotional landscape. Someone knew that if the truth reached you, your heart would awaken in ways they couldn't control. Your intuition would strengthen. Your choices would shift. Your destiny would expand. They didn't hide the baby because of the baby, they hid the baby because of your power. But God has dismantled every chain that held this truth back. Something huge is waiting for you. Amen. Blessing 27:27. And now the divine reason behind the exposure begins to unfold, because God never reveals without purpose. You are being positioned to reclaim what was spiritually connected to you from the beginning. The truth rising is not meant to break you, it is meant to prepare you, align you, elevate you. This child is part of a bigger plan, a divine structure that was paused but never cancelled. Heaven is restoring what was delayed. God is placing the missing piece back into your story. And in the next part, the revelation they feared most, the one they prayed would never reach your ears, will begin to surface with undeniable force. Something huge is waiting for you. Amen. Blessing 28:28. The truth is no longer approaching, it has arrived, standing inches from your awareness, pressing against the final barrier they built around your destiny. The secret they guarded with fear, the truth they wrapped in silence, the story they hoped would never reach you, heaven has shattered every wall. This baby, this innocent life glowing with divine purpose, has become the center of a revelation powerful enough to rewrite everything you thought you understood. The people involved are restless now, because they can feel the exposure they fought against becoming unstoppable. And God is speaking firmly, you will know what was hidden from you. Something huge is waiting for you. Amen. Blessing 29:29. But here is where the energy intensifies even more. Someone didn't just hide the truth out of fear, they hid it out of desperation. They knew that once this revelation touched your life, everything would shift. Your heart would recalibrate. Your understanding would deepen. Your steps would align with divine timing. They feared that the bond you were meant to share with this child would open a new dimension of purpose inside you, one they couldn't influence, manipulate, or control. This secret was their last attempt at keeping power over your emotional direction. But heaven has stepped in, reclaiming authority over your destiny. Something huge is waiting for you. Amen. Blessing 30:30. And now, prepare yourself for what comes next, because the deepest layer is beginning to rise, the layer tied to why God said, "No more secrets." This truth is meant to unlock the next chapter of your journey, the chapter where clarity enters, confusion ends, and your role in this child's life becomes illuminated. You might not see the full picture yet, but the shift you feel in your spirit is not random, it is alignment. It is destiny unfolding at the exact moment heaven scheduled it. In the next part, the emotional core behind this entire story will reveal itself, the truth that changes everything. Something huge is waiting for you. Amen. Blessing 31:31. The revelation is now rising like a tidal wave, and nothing, absolutely nothing, can push it back down. The truth they hid is no longer in the shadows, it is standing in the center of your destiny with undeniable force. This baby, this small yet spiritually powerful life, has been orbiting your path from the beginning. And now heaven has aligned the moment for the truth to reach you with full clarity. Someone who feared this day is restless, shaken, losing sleep, because they know the exposure they avoided for so long is finally here. God is saying, your eyes will see what your spirit already sensed. Something huge is waiting for you. Amen. Blessing 32:32. This is where the emotional core begins to surface, the very reason God stepped into the story himself. This truth was not hidden by accident, someone made a conscious choice. They believed that by burying the existence of this child, they could bury a part of your destiny. They hoped the distance would break the spiritual connection. They believed silence would keep you blind. But heaven had already woven your story with this baby's story long before any human decision was made. The bond is divine, not optional. And when a divine connection is threatened, God intervenes, powerfully. Something huge is waiting for you. Amen. Blessing 33:33. And now the turning point arrives, the moment your spirit has been pushed toward since the very beginning of this message. The next layer of truth will reveal not just who hid the secret, but why heaven refused to let it remain hidden. This baby carries a role in your future that cannot be replaced, cannot be ignored, cannot be undone. You are stepping into a revelation that will change how you see yourself, your relationships, your past, and your destiny. What comes next is not just information, it is transformation. Prepare your heart, because the next part uncovers the truth they hoped you'd never hear. Something huge is waiting for you. Amen. Blessing 34:34. The deepest layer is rising now, and the truth they fought so hard to bury is pushing into your reality with unstoppable force. This isn't just revelation anymore, this is divine confrontation. God has stepped into the center of this story, placing his hand on the truth they tried to suffocate. The baby at the heart of this secret carries a destiny thread that was always meant to touch yours. And now, heaven is pulling that thread straight into your awareness. The people who hid this truth are trembling inside, because they know the moment they feared the most is here. Something huge is waiting for you. Amen. Blessing 35:35. The emotional truth behind their silence begins to unfold now, layer by layer. Someone realized long ago that this child would change the direction of your heart. They knew that once you learned everything, your priorities would shift, your spirit would awaken, and your loyalty would realign. This child represents clarity, healing, a new beginning. And they feared that if you stepped into that beginning, you would step out of their control. So they hid what was never theirs to hide. But heaven has broken every spiritual lock they placed around this revelation. God's decree overrides their decision. Something huge is waiting for you. Amen. Blessing 36:36. And now destiny enters with full force, because the purpose of this revelation is bigger than you imagine. This baby is not just a missing piece, they are a divine link. A connection that brings restoration to places in your life that have been wounded or incomplete. God is revealing this now because the timing is perfect. Your spirit is ready. Your heart is strong enough. And your destiny is prepared to expand. The next part will uncover the moment heaven chose to expose everything, the moment that triggered the unraveling of every secret they tried to build. Something huge is waiting for you. Amen. Blessing 37:37.